This is a slideshow on the Vietnam/South Korean War and U.S. involvement by Anna, Reese, and Kit. After World War II, Japan was forced to give up land in Korea. Some of the northern land was given to the USSR and some of the southern parts were given to the United States. During this time, the United States and the Soviet Union were in the Cold War. They were fighting to see who could be the world's greatest superpower, and the United States wanted to stop the domino theory from happening in Korea. So when the North Korean forces invaded South Korea, the United States sent UN forces to stop the communists from invading South Korea. In the middle of the Korean War, North and South Korea were fighting. The United States was helping South Korea while the Soviet Union was helping North Korea. The Soviet Union wanted to spread communism, so they helped North Korea as well as China. South Korea made it past the 30th parallel, but when China got involved, South Korea was again pushed back. They fought at the 30th parallel for a long time. After fighting at the 30th parallel for a long time, the American and Soviets were getting tired. So Korea ended in a stalemate, which means that no progress was made on either side. The war lasted 2 years and an armistice was made on July 27, 1953. There were an estimated 4,000 deaths from 4 million deaths from the war, but there were no peace treaties signed between the countries. There were also a demoralized zone between the two countries. This is where the leaders of the two countries met. This area is also forbidden to have any military presence. France controlled Vietnam starting in 1858, using the area as a resource of raw materials for exports, including rice and coal. But Japan then had control of Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia during World War II. After Japan surrendered, Ho Chi Minh proclaimed Vietnam's independence, but France didn't want that to happen, which created the First Indochina War, which lasted 8 years. The United States, fearful of the spread of communism in Asia, sent aid to the French. Then, the Geneva Peace Accords happened, which caused the spread of communism. The North Vietnam wanted communism, while the South wanted democracy. The USSR aided the North, while the US aided the South. So the Vietnam War started. Initially, the US provided South Vietnam with funds, military equipment, and advisors. But after North Vietnam launched an attack against 2 American ships in the Gulf of Tonkin in response to American and South Vietnam's espionage along its coast, America started to send troops down to Vietnam. American troops fought with the North Vietnams to stop the domino theory in Asia, but the Vietnam War was the first war filmed, and the public was not happy. There were many protesters, which made the Vietnam War that much harder. Another struggle with fighting in Vietnam was that the Viet Cong used guerrilla warfare. They knew how to fight in the jungles of Vietnam, while American and UN soldiers didn't. With the pressure from the public and casualties piling up, Nixon was on a lot of pressure of ending the war. So on January 1973, the Nixon White House convinced Saigon that they would not abandon South Korea if they signed the peace accord. When the peace accord was signed, it ended in open hostilities between America and North Vietnam. But the peace accord didn't end the fighting. With North and South Vietnam, the end finally came on April 30th, when communist forces captured the capital of South Vietnam. The United States was both majorly involved with both the Korean and the Vietnam Wars. Their main goal was to stop communism from spreading throughout Asia. The United States was also in competition with the Soviet Union, who was trying to spread communism. They were each trying to gain more allies for their cause. The Vietnam and Korean Wars were both very important for the wars of South Korea, very important for the United States and for the cause of democracy.